Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Today, CoinDesk released a video. It was a panel of 4 individuals, including none other than Brian Brooks, who was acting head of the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency until a little bit less than a month ago. Very pro-crypto individual. This gentleman, at one point, and I highlighted this on the channel at least once, probably more like 2 or 3 times, he cited... And he didn't say XRP, but he cited the use case of XRP being positioned as a bridge currency, as the, quote, killer app for cryptocurrencies, because it functionally solves a real-world problem. So he went through to describe just how meaningful that is, and didn't describe XRP, which is perfectly fine. He doesn't have to say it, but I bring that up just so that you have an idea of the degree to which this guy gets it. And he stated in this video, among other things, that he has actually made a prediction. That's his word. He predicts that Ripple will be settling, and he made his case for why he believes that to be so. So I'm going to be sharing some information on that front, as well as opinions from another lawyer. It comes from this piece from the dailyhodl.com. It's titled, Top Crypto Lawyer Predicts Ripple Will Settle with SEC. Free trading of XRP may resume in the United States. And this comes from a lawyer who certainly strikes me as not a fan of Ripple and not a fan of XRP, but I am a genuine fan of diversity of thoughts. Even if that's the case, I still want to share diverse opinions on this channel. This is not, I mean, it's a pro XRP channel, like, because just in the sense that I'm pro XRP, so it's XRP centric. It's not a hype channel. I just want to believe whatever is true, including dissenting opinions. I just want to be aware of them anyway. And I don't think it's the case that everything about Ripple and everything about XRP is good or perfect. And that's just me being intellectually honest. But I am Mr. XRP bull for a reason. I believe in the long-term viability of XRP, and I have positioned myself accordingly. I do want to be clear that I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. Now, there is this headline from January 13th from CoinDesk titled, OCC Chief Brian Brooks is stepping down Thursday. And I just wanted to briefly touch on the first part of this just to set the table so you have an idea of what this gentleman has been up to. Brian Brooks, who is named the acting head of the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, or OCC for short, last summer, made it official a day after he was rumored to be departing. His departure will come a day after the federal banking regulator granted crypto custodian Anchorage a conditional trust charter, making it the first crypto-native national bank. So this is a very pro-crypto individual. And by the way, before he took on this role as the acting head, he was working at Coinbase. Check out this quote now. It has been a great honor to serve the United States as acting comptroller of the currency, Brooks said in an emailed statement through a spokesperson. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency is the most extraordinary of federal agencies, filled with the most dedicated, professional, and gifted staff any executive can hope to have. I am extremely proud of what we have accomplished together through what have been extraordinary times by any measure. Shout out to my fellow XRP YouTuber, James Rule XRP, who shared this short clip on Twitter, and he also sent this directly to my inbox, which I appreciated. That's how I first saw this. I mean, it's been shared all over today, so you might have seen some of this. But what I'm going to do here, since I don't really like to play videos, I have a few times, and I'm perfectly within my right to play short clips, and I get that, and then provide commentary. But, people, if somebody wants to be a Jay Clayton, that is to say, if somebody wants to be an asshat, they can put a claim against my channel for covering something, and then I just do I want the headache? And so what I did was, instead of playing this clip in this video, what I went ahead and did was I transcribed his entire comments. Which, really, to be honest with you, it was just a bunch of bitch work. Seriously, typing this up and pausing and rewinding so I could get every word right. It was a bunch of bitch work. But I got it done, and so it's to your benefit here. So there we go. And there's another individual on here, and maybe I'm not going to play this, but maybe I can get... there you go. So this gentleman in the bottom left here, his name is Lawrence Lewitton, and he's a markets managing editor at CoinDesk. And he posed a question to Brian Brooks here, which you're going to find fascinating. The question was, you worked at Coinbase, you worked in the government, albeit for under a year, so tell us, is XRP a security, yes or no? And he just, I've never seen this guy before, but it was like really like, he was like, yes or no. It was like very, made me more like, ooh. I was like, you sound a little spicy, sir. Nothing against him at all. It just kind of made me wonder just the way the question was framed. I was like, what are your opinions on Ripple and XRP? And I don't know. Maybe he's a fan, but I don't know the way he said it. But here's Brian's answer as transcribed by yours truly, Moon Lambo. You are welcome for me having done the bitch work. All right. So here's what Brian said. Well, these are complicated questions and matters of pending litigation, so who can say? But here's what I would tell you, though, which I think is the most important issue about XRP, and that is there is a difference, okay? There's a difference between the way in which an asset is distributed and the nature of the asset at any given moment in time. And I think the issue in Ripple that gets lost in all the discussion, I think, whatever happened in the original distribution of XRP tokens, 10 years ago, and whether that was or wasn't an unregistered securities offering, that's what the court will decide. That's a different question from whether XRP today is a security. And the SEC itself has said that assets can change their nature over time as they achieve utility and as they achieve decentralization. So if I had to make a prediction, I'll just make a quick prediction. And that is that there is a settlement to be done here somewhere, and the settlement has to do with the distribution of the tokens so that the existing token holders can continue to trade them and find value in them the way that they do. Hallelujah, praise the Jesus. This is what I've been saying. I feel vindicated when stuff like this happens. Like, I've been saying this on my silly little Moon Lambo channel for over 2 years now. I've been running it. This idea that you cannot shoehorn cryptocurrencies not neatly into the existing regulatory framework set forth by the SEC. There's a reason we're running into all these tremendous complications. Was it previously the case you could have an asset that could go from centralized to decentralized and that it would functionally mean something, that it would actually matter? We didn't really have that problem until the advent of cryptocurrencies a little over a decade ago. And we're still working with this. Regulating through enforcement. Thanks for nothing, Jay Clayton, you asshat. I'm just saying, man. Now, he perfectly articulated the position that is ongoing. And this idea that it could be the case that Ripple offered XRP in such a way that it represents a securities offering, even though XRP today is not a security. And I think a lot of people that have been following, along with the rest of the XRP community, at this point, I think a lot of us realize that there's always new people coming on board, and it sounds like a wacky concept at first. So you're like, wait a minute, you're telling me that XRP is not a security, but Ripple may have sold it in a position that represented it, the sale as a registered security. Well, I'm not saying that is the case. I'm saying that's possible, and we have seen legal outcomes in line with that, which I know it sounds wacky on the surface, but that is functionally what has happened in other instances. And so he seems rather convinced, and it is interesting hearing this from somebody who has worked now, in an important position within the federal government, to state that, he just doesn't believe that it would make any sense in the world for XRP today to be declared a security. And I don't think the SEC even thinks that it has a strong position on that front. They may have a strong position in making a claim that XRP was sold by Ripple as a security, but that's what's so interesting about this. You could fundamentally sell something that's not a security in a way that would make the actual transaction, as I just stated, an unregistered security. But think about this. It could be something like, I don't know, pick an object, like basketballs. I don't care. Well, a basketball clearly is not a security in and of itself, but maybe you had a specific brand of basketball there so that it's still not a security. But if you're selling it in such a way that there's some sort of reasonable expectation that your actions will result in an increased price action for this, the argument is that it could be declared an unregistered security sale, even though the underlying asset isn't a security. Convoluted sounding, but that's where we're at right now. And so I think that absolutely he was hitting the nail on the head here. And then there was, this was retweeted by Santiago Velez, who is a rather sharp individual. I first came across him beginning of December when he was having a discussion with Raoul Paul, who is the co-founder of Real Vision. And Ron Paul, he's just another guy that just strikes me as tremendously intellectually honest, just wants to believe whatever the hell is true. He's been looking into XRP. I don't know if he ever bought it, but he said that he, very recently, that he was actually considering it, and I suspect he actually did for reasons I've talked about on the channel, just based on some things that he said here. But he likes the idea of this contrarian approach. While everybody else is saying, no, it doesn't make sense, or going to zero, or this or that, or it's getting harder to purchase, all of those things caught his interest, and he does seem to recognize the true utility of XRP in addition to that. And so we had a discussion here with Santiago Velez, who, I gotta tell you, he is clearly incredibly sharp and has a firm understanding of the application of XRP as a bridge currency, moving money around the planet, helping people to convert at a savings in a more efficient way, the transfer of one fiat currency into another, the world over. And so here's what he wrote on this. My view all along. A digital asset has two components, method of distribution and operational decentralization, and both of those things can change over time. It is therefore possible for something to have been a security at one time and no longer be. Also, the opposite. Exactly. Oh, it's so awesome seeing people recognize this. I've been literally saying this 4 years on this silly little Moon Lambo channel. Attorney John Deaton jumped in and responded to that and wrote the following. As usual, Santiago is 100. The last sentence of his tweet is important. That's why I've warned that an aggressive SEC could claim that Bitcoin in certain scenarios is a security. You can think VC money into mining pools. If Bitcoin hits $250,000, are you confident that the government won't come calling? Which I think is an excellent question, and that's why everybody in the world of crypto, even Bitcoin maxi trolls, should be very concerned about the outcome of this case. Because if Ripple were to outright lose and XRP is declared a security, what wouldn't be considered a security? Not much. Not much. Maybe everything would be. And look, I don't think it's going to go that way. I'm just citing that I understand the danger, and I think most people listening kind of get that. And so next, there was this from the Daily Huddle. Top crypto lawyer predicts Ripple will settle with SEC. Free trading of XRP may resume in the United States. Stephen Pauly is sounding off on the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's lawsuit against Ripple and predicts the payments firm will settle with the regulatory body. I got to tell you, so at this point, this is just like the, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, the common wisdom. I feel like there's a better word to throw in there than common, but it just seems to be the generally accepted thought process as to what's ultimately going to happen here. Even people that are not fans of Ripple and XRP seem to think that settlement, even to this point, is the most likely outcome, which, again, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. In a new tweet storm, the blockchain and virtual currency lawyer at Anderson Kill believes that Ripple's quick answer to the SEC's complaint indicates that the payment startup wants the legal battle to end swiftly. And that is true. I do agree with that. I've talked about that before. But here's a quote. I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd asked for another 30 days and then filed a nearly guaranteed to be denied motion to dismiss, but they didn't. They answered within about a month. What does this mean? Unlike most defendants, they actually want a fast resolution. Now, Pauly also says he believes the SEC has already fully laid out its case at this early stage. Well, I'll tell you what, how long was the original complaint? I can't remember if it was like 70 or 80 pages, whatever it was. It was pretty long, and so much of what was in that damn complaint had nothing to do with the actual charge of Ripple selling an investment contract, an unregistered security. It was a bunch of claims, and even if they're accurate, they were designed in such a way that it was supposed to elicit emotion. In particular, the selling of XRP by Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and Chris Larson, when in reality, even the SEC is not saying that they did anything illegal. There is no fraud charge. They just brought it up because they wanted to look as though there was some sort of greedy action going on here, when in reality, there's been full transparency on the sales of certainly on the Ripple side. I've highlighted on the channel over half a year ago that Brad Garlinghouse was selling XRP, and I was like, whatever, it's part of his compensation package. Would you be bitching if instead of the XRP he just had more dollars up front? Like, come on, who cares? Somebody else getting rich and making money doesn't hurt me in and of itself. As long as Ripple and the executives continue to operate in good faith and they're not harming the XRP ecosystem, I hope they make a ton of money. I would love for every XRP holder to make a ton of money. That would be fantastic, right? But he states here, in other words, the SEC I'm sorry. Did I read that one yet? Wait, yeah, typically in civil litigation, you don't get the other side's documents until the case has progressed for a while. Here, SEC has presumably gotten all of the documents during the enforcement action, which is why the original complaint is so compliant. In other words, SEC probably has all of the bad documents smoking guns already and has included them in the lawsuit. So if this attorney here is correct, we're not going to be surprised during the discovery process or anything like that. If this is indeed the case, he seems to think that the SEC already knows what went down, and this was their strongest foot forward, which is pretty weak considering that they're not even seeking to have XRP be declared by a judge to be a security. But anyway, the blockchain lawyer adds that Ripple may have a tough time arguing that its sales of XRP should not be seen as an offering, which I think, to be honest with you, I think that is a fair point. I'm actually one of the few that has been saying that the whole time I've been running this channel. I've not said that XRP was a security in the past, but I brought up the point that, because think about the function of what happened. XRP was created, then Ripple, the company, was created, then the people that created XRP gifted a bunch of it to Ripple, and because that was gifted and Ripple started after the company is formed after the creation of XRP, that's supposed to somehow let them off the hook. I've never been convinced of that, because then that's an easy loophole. So to all the ICOs, they're like, wait a minute, you can get away with that? So then, instead of forming a company, creating a coin, all you do is like, oh, you can get away with it like that. Let's just do the inverse. Let's create the coin, create the company, and gift it to ourselves. To me, that didn't really ever make sense. Now, mind you, Ripple has been around for so long, and they have been so transparent. I mean, there's such a legacy crypto entity at this point, given the messiness in the early days of crypto and not knowing what is what. They were acting in good faith. So, like, even if that still is an unreasonable loophole, you got to recognize that they were here from the beginning. No action was taken, and these have to be factors. So the degree to which the SEC is coming after them, to me, it seems unfair and irrational, and it really makes you question what the motive is to this point here. So that's always been my position, right? But I do not believe for a moment, no matter what, that XRP is a security today. And so I'm just being intellectually honest. I always have been. That's always been my stance on this. When Ripple settles, as Polly predicts they will, the lawyer bets that XRP trading will be reinstated on exchanges in the United States. And here's a quote now. A case should settle after motion practice, maybe with an ability to allow trading to commence again in the United States. SEC probably not entirely deaf to impact on U.S. buyers, nor should it be, whatever one thinks of the company or its head honchos. Well, tell you what, the SEC has seemed deaf to the impact of U.S. buyers of XRP. Really, global buyers of XRP, they don't care that there's no indication. There's no indication. And their complaint, they never once talked about, they didn't cite a single sentence in their entire claim that was 70 or 80 pages, whatever it was, expressing any concern for actual XRP holders. And so they're aware of this. I just don't think they care. I really don't think they care at all, which is completely against what their mission statement is. It's supposed to allegedly to protect investors, this and that. Well, I'm not buying it, frankly. But I will go ahead and wrap up there because, look, I do think ultimately the exchanges that have halted or delisted XRP, they're going to come back. I don't think they wanted to do that. They're making money on the buying and selling of XRP. Why would they want that to go away? So I do think that it will ultimately come back. It's just really messy here in the short term, but hopefully we'll have some sort of clarity and final resolution in the calendar year 2021. Many attorneys seem to think that is the case and most likely outcome, but I will wrap up there. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.